I think from a construction standpoint, we all know in Alberta there's been a downturn in the economy. Margins are pretty tight in getting work, and so maintaining the right level of work and getting the right kind of work. So I think from our company's perspective, we tend to look for where, as a contractor, we can kind of add a bit more of a higher value add proposition. So we don't always go for if there's an open bid on a job in the market that's just open, that's not stuff we tend to chase. So it's finding the jobs where we can provide best value for the client in that way. We're not looking for a race for the bottom. So that's kind of a thing that we always are challenged around. And when there's less projects on the market, that gives us a little less opportunity and choice out there. We are still not chasing a bunch of the hard bid work. How we have managed that and what is a challenge for us is that we are expanding across Canada. So we've just opened, a year and a half ago, we opened an office in Vancouver. And we've just opened a small office in Toronto, and we're working in Ottawa. So the other challenge around that, because we know that the Alberta market is just in the state that it's in, it's recovering. And so for us, it's also expanding at the right pace with the right people so that you do that in a controlled manner. And also with the right people able to moving some people. A lot of people don't want to move. So it's how do you find the right people to make those moves to kind of be your core and your seed starters in those offices. So in terms of where I see opportunity for us in the next kind of 12 to 24 months, I think it's still on the expansion across the country piece. There's lots of work happening in Vancouver and Ontario, but there are still opportunities in Alberta. And the big piece of the expansion for us, and I think opportunity for us, is on the integrated project delivery side of life. The collaborative construction piece, I think, is huge. There's a lot more interest in that across the country. And so we will be that, and that has been our focus as part of the expansion, is bringing that collaborative construction across to other markets. So in terms of being a game changer in the construction industry, either technology or trend, I'm a firm believer in IPD, so integrated project delivery. With that, it brings some other components as well. So to me, collaboration is it's the way that almost all industries are moving. And if you look at some of the bigger companies, the Googles, the Amazons of the world, they focus on how their teams are operating internally and trying to build those teams. So I think in the construction side, it's something we've ignored a little too long. We kind of set off on these projects. Sometimes we get really lucky and have collaborative teams that just sort of naturally develop, just like you might have a sports team that just naturally has a flow to it and they are able to just play well together. But most of the time, that requires a lot more work and intention and effort. We have traditionally not focused on that in construction projects. That's where, to me, IPD comes in. So it brings a focus to collaboration. I also think IPD is not ever going to take over the market in terms of the delivery type. You're still going to have construction management, design, bid, build, and design, build. But the focus of what integrated project delivery can do is you can take the best pieces of that and also change and make better those other delivery methods. And then it also makes possible, so on the technology side, using building information modeling, we can take that to whole new levels in the field. There's so much more work we can do on the prefab and modularization side of life when you have a team looking, so we want construction to move in more of those directions, but it's harder to do in the other delivery methods. So IPD is like the prime place where we can experiment and do that in a great way and really bring a lot more technological advances and changes. So I totally see that as being the catalyst for all those other parts. So in terms of who works on IPD projects and their how they feel on them, I would say most, it's a lot of work to work on them. It's grueling sometimes. So we don't ever say that it's not rainbows and kittens the whole time. But I would suggest that most people who come off those jobs, it's like, I kind of liken it to doing high-performing sports. If you're going to run a marathon or play volleyball or whatever you do, you have to train and practice. It's hard work to get to perform at those levels. Construction teams that perform high and design teams that perform high, it takes a lot of work to get there. So we can't kid ourselves that it's like all fun and games all the time. But most people who come off those jobs, they often say that they're ruined when they come off them because they've enjoyed their work so much that they don't want to go work on traditional projects anymore. To go back to the grind of just the confrontation. And so there's tough conversations that happen in IPD jobs, but they're kept in a box of we can have a tough conversation and be respectful because we all have the same goal and we have to come out the other side. For the younger generation, I guess so it's interesting, I've been in construction for 11 years, but I was a teacher before that. I never imagined myself going into construction. It was not even a thought that entered into my mind as a possible job. And so what I would say is the direction the construction industry is going, a couple of things. The direction the construction industry is going in terms of the collaboration piece, I think is going to be a lot more suitable for younger generation. A lot of people talk about millennials having different expectations of jobs. And I think the traditional way construction ran wouldn't have been as satisfying as a career. I think it's going to be a lot more satisfying a career for people coming out of school, coming out of university. And the other thing that I would push is I know from experience that I did not think about this as a career. And so also specifically pointed to women, there is a lot of great opportunity in the construction industry and a great need for us to diversify the industry. And there are so many jobs, it's not, doing the work in the field is extremely important. And I think I always imagined that construction was just, you had to be with a hammer in the field, which never would have been my strength anyways. I'm pathetic when it comes to cold weather. But there's so many other jobs in the office side of life, from project management to estimating. There's just so many great careers. And then that doesn't even tackle, jobs on the vendor side of life, the manufacturer side of life, the design side of life, the owner side of life. There's jobs in all of those areas that relate to design and construction. And that, to me, so from any young person, and also specifically to women, do not shy away from this industry. There's a lot of great jobs. And I have had the opportunity to learn and grow in so many ways and travel that I never would have got to do in any other career. So I'd absolutely put out to young people, totally think about coming into construction. It's changing, and we need more of that energy in the industry. I've had a lot of great projects over the years, but probably one of my best projects, for a lot of reasons, was the Mosaic Center in Edmonton. So it was our very first integrated project delivery job. It was a first client that actually wanted to push forward and try it out. They had set super high sustainability goals. They wanted to try and make the building net zero in Edmonton, which on a commercial building side is it's not impossible, but really hard to do. So they set those goals. We wanted to do IPD. We wanted to add lean into the process, both from design and construction standpoint. So we threw all of these new things at the team. And that job basically, I think, changed the trajectory of my career, because I had never done IPD before that, and I'd only been dabbling in lean. So sustainability was a huge chunk of the work I did. That job opened up all of those pieces to me and to our company. The company that was originally building it and moving into the building, they also did lean in their operations side of life. So they're one of the few times I've ever seen a knowledge working firm implement lean effectively inside a company. And when you can actually see someone model that and realize, so we are a construction company, we have a knowledge working component, through our whole organization, and then there's the lean and the field pieces we figured out how to build better. We can implement this in multiple ways in our organization. And so that project changed our company. We implemented lean on new levels. We've been pushing for the collaborative piece more. It changed the way we work. So I've had a lot of great projects since then and some amazing teams to work on, but that job was really the catalyst for everything. And it was hard. But I also saw the benefit it was one of the first times I saw on the trade side of life, the value that we placed on the knowledge of the trades and really elevated them to the level that they should be at. We never capitalize on their knowledge on most other jobs. So to see that happen and to see our design team and our owner honor the trades in that way was incredible. So there were so many great things about that job that we have used, and we learned a lot of stuff. We didn't do everything right on that job, and there's a lot of stub toes there too. But if you're going to move forward and change, you're going to have failures along the way, and you have to accept those, and there were some on that job, but it was a huge game changer for me personally and for our company and direction of our company. So in terms of my workload, I definitely work a lot more on IPD projects, but I also I really think that's the best bang for your buck in terms of if you really want to align a team, IPD is still the model that you're going to most likely get your best value out of. But I have absolutely worked on other jobs. I've gone and done lean training on site, and we do values alignment and get people aligned and then do check-in points with them after to say, how are you doing on this? And I love that too. And when I see that on a construction management job, I know that, and I see some of our trades who worked on IPD jobs go to our construction management jobs, and we bring that element to it, and you can tell that they like that, they enjoy it, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to know kind of the direction that they're going. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of working on other jobs outside of IPD when it employs that methodology. So to me it's about engagement of people, trying to bring a level of enjoyment to work that we don't always think about in construction, aligning team members, helping them and elevating them to the level that they should be at. And you can do that in other methods. And so, I work more on IPD jobs, but I still enjoy working on the other jobs in that way too. On the economic differentiator side of life and what is going to come out on top, I think we have to start thinking about, IPD is, I guess, part of it, but it is the high-performing team component of it. So how are we building teams? If you think about buildings, when we go to build projects, I often ask people, when you step out onto a job site or you're starting to do your work, have you thought about how are those people working together? You do a schedule, and then you just sort of ship them off to do their work. Has anyone thought about at all how those people are actually functioning together? And high-performing teams are teams of people that they're accountable. They, are respectful to each other. You sort through problems in a way you're able to speak about things openly. You have, so if you don't build that, how are you getting that? And if you think about putting even the building we're in right now, there's so many people that touch this building, so many different companies. Without organizing that, how would you possibly expect to do that in the best possible way? So to me, where our industry should be looking at in any delivery model is how are we starting our jobs, setting up teams for pushing high performance. We're not even talking about that. We need to be talking about that and living it and forcing ourselves to continue checking in on it then through the rest of the job.